Welcome in, Dynasty fam. Hope you guys are doing well and had a good end of your fantasy week 3. So today going to be talking about 10 things that you must know heading into fantasy week 4 or NFL week 4. So once again, thank you guys for tapping in and we'll get straight into it. Coming in, guys, I actually put more than 10. I put one extra, guys, so I don't know how to count. So we have a bonus one. So starting off with our bonus one, we have is going to be right here, right there. We got Melvin Gordon, guys, in case you may have missed it. But basically right now you have Justice Hill is banged up. Gus Edwards also left the game in the fourth quarter, possibly with a concussion, so he may not be good to go. So something to just kind of keep an eye out for right now. But Gordon saw a majority of the work. Kenyon Drake is also there, but Gordon gets you 10 carries and 2 receptions. Kenyon Drake only gets 1 carry, 2 receptions. So if something were to happen, guys, or if Hill does not come back in week 4, you have Melvin Gordon there on your waiver wire. I think he's a good little ad, someone you can put in for a $0 bid. If you miss out on your guy, $1 bid, add Melvin Gordon just to see what happens coming into NFL week 4. If by chance Hill and Gus Bus are out, guys. So now going into number 10, our actual number 10, we have Mr. Breece Hall, guys. And I really like what I saw, guys. I know he struggled. He did not play very well. But right now, after that week 2, guys, it was very concerning. We were concerned about Breece Hall. Only got 4 carries, 2 targets, right? He ran like 6 routes, and he split snaps with Michael Carter, and you had with 15 each. Then you had Dalvin Cook led with 17 snaps. Breece was obviously not happy after the game. He voiced his opinion that he wanted the ball, needed the ball. So this one, they increased his carries, guys, from 4 to 12. He also led in the routes run. And then, so he went up to 13. So last week he only had 6 routes run, like I said. Then he led in snaps, guys, 31 to Dalvin Cook 16. So which is good. This was his first week. He led in snaps, led in carries, right? And then, so I think, guys, he's going to have a big week coming. Also, guys, worth noting, he has Denver in week 5, man. So you got about 300 yards coming up for Breece Hall and 5 touchdowns based on Denver, what they looked like last week. So Breece Hall, definitely someone I think is a buy low candidate for me and someone that I'm definitely interested in. I definitely like the usage increase for Breece Hall. So I am interested going forward. So now going into our number 9, guys, we have Adam Thielen, guys. Right now, Adam Thielen is the wide receiver 9 overall, guys, in total fantasy points. Had a big week, 31.50 or 31.5 fantasy points. So back-to-back 20-plus fantasy point performances for Adam Thielen. He had 20 and then 31. He went 11 for 145 and a touchdown, guys. 14 targets this week. Last week he had 9. So Mingo got banged up, left, right, for pretty early on in the game. But even last week, man, he had 9 targets last week. So Adam Thielen right now, the next games that are coming up also, you have Minnesota, Detroit, and Miami. So maybe some shootouts coming up for Adam Thielen. Definitely someone that you could ride out if he stays healthy, man. Definitely going to be solid these next few weeks. Steal, right? He was plus 100 in drafts, right? You got him way late, double-digit rounds. So wide receiver 1 right now in fantasy, still early on. He's 33 years old. Let's see if he can hang on a couple more weeks, but definitely think it's going to be good the next 3 weeks for Adam Thielen. So moving on to number 8, guys, we have Mr. Marvin Mims. He makes it again. And really, I mean, he had a not that big of a week, but we just talked about last week. He only had 6 routes. He had over 100 yards and a touchdown and two targets, which was ridiculous. So we talked about this guy's got to get on the field more. They moved him up a little bit, right? Now he runs 11 routes this week. So up a little bit in the routes. And then in that, guys, he gets 5 targets again. Well, not again, but he earns 5 targets in those 11 routes. So almost 50%, right? Earning targets on 50% of his routes. He goes 3 for 73. So still gets you 73 yards, like we said last week. Just a big play waiting to happen with Marvin Mims. And now, so just talking about just that his usage is worth monitoring, guys. If it continues to go up, Marvin Mims still has some room to grow. Definitely like Marvin Mims right now. So now moving on to number 7, someone that has been overshadowed, I think, guys, right now, Josh Downs. I really like Josh Downs a lot. Let's give him the full screen. I like Josh Downs a lot, guys. He was our wide receiver 5 coming in pre-draft, and he's just solid, man. He's a good wide receiver. He gets open. So he had 5+ targets in each of his 3 games. Right now, we have Puka, Tank Dell, right? Mims. These guys are taking the spotlight, but I like Marvin Mims, man. I think under the radar, he's doing some good things. Like I said, 5+ targets each of his first 3 games. He had 11 targets this past week, or 12 targets this past week. He went 8 for 12, guys, with 56 yards. So definitely good for Josh Downs, and he's been consistently out targeting and out producing Alec Pierce. We know a lot of people had Alec Pierce as that wide receiver 2 on that team, and he's been running more routes, right? Alec Pierce has been running more routes since Josh Downs each week, and Josh Downs still earning more targets and out producing him. So I really like Josh Downs. They had Garner Minshew there, but still, I think Josh Downs is under the radar, someone that I don't mind stashing, guys. If I miss out on some guys, I don't mind stashing them. I think that touchdown is coming for Josh Downs. He was top 5, guys, in college in both receptions and touchdowns in 2022. So Josh Downs is someone that he's very talented. I'm very interested in. And if I miss out, like I said, in my waiver wire, I might scoop him up. Someone that I think that you're going to have that 20-point game, I think, coming pretty soon for Josh Downs. So now we're going to go on to number 6, and we got Jerome Ford, guys. And I know Jerome Ford had a pretty good week, right? That week 2 when you had that injury to Nick Chubb. But right now, guys, if you're looking at it, Jerome Ford, he did not. I mean, if you look at the fantasy points, he did good. I think he had like 19 fantasy points. But if you look at it as a whole, guys, really he got saved by the touchdowns. He had 10 carries for only 18 yards, guys. So he was not good. He was not good on the ground. Only one. He had the touchdown, but worth noting, guys, he played Tennessee. Tennessee has been really good. A tough defense against running backs. Ramondre only had 25 yards against Tennessee in week 1. And then Josh Kelly, guys, I don't know, only had, I think, 12 yards on 11 carries against Tennessee. But that's not really here nor there. But 22 routes to Hunt's 5. Worth noting, though, guys, Hunt had 5 carries for 13 yards, so a little bit better. Still not great, but a little bit better than Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford did get 2 receptions for 33 yards and a receiving touchdown, so that is good. That is a positive for Jerome Ford. And then Kareem Hunt through the air, 2 receptions for 22 yards. So I think, guys, in the next coming weeks, I mean, this was with Hunt barely even showing up, just walking out there on the team, right? Coming out, didn't really train anywhere for training camp. So I think Kareem Hunt is going to earn a little bit more work in this backfield. And guys, Jerome Ford right now, for me, I know you probably spent some money on the waiver wire if it's in redraft. And in Dynasty, though, in redraft, guys, I wouldn't mind trying to sell Jerome Ford right now. The next game's coming up is going to be pretty brutal, guys. He's got the Ravens in week 4. Then he's got a bye, so he's not even going to play for you. And then you have San Francisco straight out of the bye. So I don't know, man. I think, like I said, you think he's going to be losing a little bit of usage here to Kareem Hunt. And then he's got some tough matchups coming up. So we'll see what happens, guys. But I think if I have someone that is interested, I definitely don't mind moving on from Jerome Ford. So now number 5, guys. And this was actually kind of something we talked about in week 1. And it was just that Tajay Spears, guys, is just continue. Well, shouldn't say continue, but Tajay Spears outsnaps Derrick Henry again, guys, in week 3. He did it in week 1, and it was 27 snaps to 17 this week. So Derrick Henry gets 11 carries, guys, only 20 yards, 2 fantasy points for you guys. And really, I mean, Cleveland is a good defense as well, but the thing that's concerning, guys, he only runs 6 routes. I know with Derrick Henry, a lot of people were thinking, hey, he's going to get an increase in that passing game. We should see him being used a little bit more now in the receiving game, but it just did not happen. If they get down early, Spears ran 18 routes. He earned 4 targets. So if they get down early, guys, like in this game, we're just going to see Henry just kind of fade away. and he's just going to get game scripted out of these games. And really, the Tennessee Titans, guys, they're not very good, right? Hopkins is aging wide receiver, hasn't looked too good, was a little banged up in the preseason. Burks as well was banged up. And now you have Tannehill, guys, he's been struggling, right? He had a good week 2, but overall he's been struggling for the past few, really since last season. So we'll see what happens, guys. Something to monitor, but I am definitely, if I am a Derrick Henry owner, he'll have some good games, guys, but there'll be games, like I said, where he's just going to get scripted out, and you're just going to have some duds like this. Only 2 fantasy points in week 3 for you guys. So now moving on to DeAndre Swift, guys. Another big game for DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift. Let's give him the full screen. Boom, right here. So back-to-back 100-plus yard games for DeAndre Swift. He was one of my favorite running back targets. We had a top 5 video, top 5 running back values. We had Kamara, Swift, and then it was Devon Achane, Rashad White, and I don't remember the 5th one, guys. Probably someone that's not doing anything. So if you want to check it out in our YouTube videos. So right now, guys, like I said, 175 yards last week, 130 yards this week. And it was interesting to see this week because we were wondering, hey, with Gainwell coming back, let's see how it goes when he has Gainwell back in the lineup. So it was pretty much a very close to 50-50 split, guys. It was in snaps, it was 43-37 in Swift's favor. The routes run were 20-16 in Swift's favor. And the carries were also very close. It was 16 carries from Swift to Gainwell's 14. But worth noting, guys, Gainwell on the ground, not very good. I mean, it's decent, but 14 carries for 43 yards. Swift in only 2 more carries, basically almost tripled Gainwell's yardage. I think he did triple it, right? 43 times 3. So definitely worth noting, guys, Swift looks better on the ground, and we know the great receiving back that Swift is as well. So I think right now he gets the goal line work as well. 3 carries to 1 for DeAndre Swift. And also worth noting, the Philadelphia Eagles were ahead pretty good, right, in the 4th quarter, and we did not see much of Swift. So I'm interested to see in a closer game what this split will be. I think it would be lean more towards Swift's favor, like 60-40, 65-35, but we'll see. It's definitely worth noting, though, that most of that work came in the 4th for Gainwell. I shouldn't say most, but some of that work came for Gainwell in the 4th. He was mixed in the other quarters as well, but there was pretty much no DeAndre Swift in that 4th quarter. So something to monitor going forward, but we know DeAndre Swift, man, with that Eagles offensive line, definitely looks good right now. So now moving on to number 3, we got Mr. Tank Dell. And we talked about Tank Dell last week, guys. He was one of our priorities on the waiver wire. Also, guys, we want to tell you guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like Dynasty or Fantasy Football. So now going back into Tank Dell, guys, he led in targets again with 10. Right. So last week he led the Texans in targets, and he does it again this week with 10 targets. Again, he runs more routes than Nico Collins. Last week, I think it was 45-40, him over Nico. Now, this week, it was a little less. He runs 26 routes to Nico Collins 24. And he went 5 for 145 and a touchdown. He's the wide receiver 7 on the week. I have 6, but that was before Jamar Chase went out and did what he did Monday night. So right now, he's the wide receiver 7 for week 3. Still great, guys. Another great performance for Tank Dell. I think, guys, he is the wide receiver 1 on the Texans. We had that up yesterday on the TikTok. I think he's probably the wide receiver 1. At least he has been in weeks 2 and week 3, and that's been when he's been on the field. Those were the times that he had the most usage and ran some routes, and he's definitely earning some targets. So only 30 attempts this week for Stroud. They were ahead. So even in that, guys, in 30 attempts, he gets 10 targets, man. So that's definitely great for the target share right there. 33% target share, more or less. Then he's wide receiver 13 overall right now in fantasy, guys. I thought was pretty cool, man. He's only 0.1. He's 10th of a point behind Chris Olave right now in total fantasy points. So Tank Dell off to a hot start, man. So definitely liking some Tank Dell. So now moving into number 2, Sam Laporta, another guy off to a hot start. We got to give him the big screen. Sam Laporta, TE1 overall this week, man, and his finishes have just been consistent, man. He basically had like 9 points week 1. It was like 8.7. So he was TE8, tight end 8 again in week 2, and then TE1 this week. He's had 5+ targets in each game. Right now, dude, Sam Laporta is leading in total yards for tight ends. He has 186. Hawkinson is right behind him with a few. I think he's like at 178, something like that. He's also second in targets behind TJ Hawkinson, the man, and then also second in receptions, both of those behind TJ Hawkinson. So Sam Laporta, man, looking impressive for a rookie. Still no Jameson Williams for a couple more weeks. And Sam Laporta has been killing so far, man. So definitely someone that has to be adjusted and moved up the dynasty rankings. So if you have Sam Laporta, definitely good to ride him out. I got to put him out of my taxi. I have him in a taxi in some leagues. In one league, I got to pull him out of there for sure and start using him. So big weeks ahead for Sam Laporta. Moving on, guys, going to be our number one, the star of the show. We have Achane. This was just ridiculous. Really, guys, we should put Tua on here, Mostert, all these guys, man. It was just a crazy week. They basically broke fantasy this week. Had like 100 points, man. It looked like the Miami Heat game. It was 70 points against Denver. So 18 rush attempts, 200 yards on the ground. So much for Achane being too small, not going to handle that workload. 18 rush attempts, only one game, but still, right? You thought, hey, they'll use him in spurts. He'll just get a few touches. 18 yards on the ground. I was thinking even, guys, he'll get a couple rush attempts and be used more so in the receiving game, but this dude tore it up on the ground. 200 yards on the ground, 4 touchdowns. It was 2 on the ground, 2 rushing TDs, 2 through the air. 51 fantasy points, 51.3 fantasy points. He is the RB1, obviously, overall in week 3. And one thing that I thought was pretty cool, man, he's tied right now with CMC with the most 20+ yard rushes. So he has 8 right now. Him and CMC both have 8 20+ yard rushes. So I thought that was a cool little stat. And right now, he is the RB6 overall in total fantasy points. So what a smash game coming out, basically his first game out, right? Didn't get much usage last week, coming out and just smashes. So I know we have Jeff Wilson coming back pretty soon here, but there's no way that this guy, Achane, does not earn and stay on the field, right? We have Mostert, Tua, and Wilson. Typically they've been a little bit more injury prone. So I think I love me some Achane. If he's on your waiver wire, I don't mind spending close to all my fab if he's out there, guys. So one league I put in a pretty high bid for him. We'll see what happens. The other league I scooped him up actually before the game. So that is all we have for you guys. We thank you guys for tuning in again. If you guys like fantasy and you enjoy the channel, be sure to check out some of our other videos and be sure to like and subscribe, and good luck next week.